Hello, everyone. Coach Felita here. I wanted to share some information with you. Just this past Friday, I went in for my annual mammogram. And every year that I have to go in for this procedure, I have a lot of anxiety around it. The reason why is because 6 years ago, I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. And when you receive a breast cancer diagnosis or any type of cancer diagnosis, it is very devastating news. There is so much information that is thrown at you that you have to be able to process, that is just totally overwhelming. And as I was leaving my appointment, I felt inspired to record this information and share this information with you in hopes that you can possibly prevent what I actually went through. Thankfully, it's been 6 years and I don't expect to receive any reoccurrences at all, although, people talk about, once you've had it, chances are you're going to have it again. I believe that the mind is very, very powerful, and what you continue to focus on, it becomes your reality. I believe I am totally healed, and I believe that I will never have to go through that again. So I wanted to share this information with you because I just believe that someone out there may be able to or may need this information that may help you make healthier choices when it comes to your body and when it comes to your health. So I want to share with you about 8 tips that I personally have made changes from and I learned from going through breast cancer. Number 1, know your body. Make sure that you are doing your monthly breast exams. I remember that it was recommended to do them after your cycle. I make it a regular habit to make sure that I do them in the shower to make sure that I stay on top of my body and make sure that I notice any type of changes or anything like that happening in my body. And something about water, when water is on the body, you can actually feel a lot better if your body is dry. So when I'm in the shower, I make sure that I do mine. I check mine on a regular basis. And when I get out of the shower, I also use oils as well. So, oils on the body also help you to be able to feel anything unusual within the body that's out of the normal routine. Also, make sure that you are getting your annual mammograms. Now, some people don't believe in getting mammograms because they can be very, very painful. However, the last time I actually had a mammogram was in 2011. I personally went 8 years and did not get a mammogram, because I was so caught up in taking care of my mother and my family and my business that I totally put myself on the back burner. So I want to encourage you that if you are a caregiver, make sure that you are taking care of yourself and you are making sure that you stay up on your personal appointments, your self-care appointments, because they are absolutely crucial to your health and wellness. So make sure that you are scheduling your physical exams, your annual mammograms. As I mentioned, some people are no longer getting the mammograms because they can be very, very painful. I'm kind of like in between the road because the mammogram is what actually saved my life. Thankfully, the cancer was caught early. I was basically at stage 0. And so I can honestly say that mammograms actually saved my life. But I've been hearing a lot of talk that they are not advisable. Um, I've heard a lot of people say that they will not get them. Unfortunately, insurance companies won't just pay for ultrasounds. You have to go through a mammogram because um, the mammograms can actually see much better than an actual ultrasound. So it's just a personal choice that you'll have to make. Number two, please eliminate or reduce the amount of plastics that you use, especially when it comes to drinking from bottled water. Bottled water has the BPA from the plastics contain xenoestrogens, and those xenoestrogens mimic estrogens in the body. So it's really important to make sure that you make some type of changes when it comes to, drinking your water. I personally started using these metal thermos bottles. I no longer drink out of bottled water unless it's just occasionally. Now, occasionally when you're at an outdoor event or you're out somewhere and you just don't have a glass or a container like this, then of course you don't have a choice. And that's okay. It's as long as it's occasionally, just don't make it a regular habit. Before my diagnosis, I was a big bottled water drinker, and I drank bottled water day in from the time that I got up throughout the day and at night. I very rarely drink from glass or from a container like this. So I want to encourage you to reduce or eliminate drinking from bottled waters. When it comes to plastics, please try not to use hot foods in plastic containers. Many times we don't think about this, but when you put your food in a microwave, you're heating up the plastics that's sending off chemicals into your food. So please if you take your lunch to work and you have hot food to heat, buy some of the glass containers or the very hard, I can't think of the name of the other containers to use, but there are some much more safer dishware that you can use for your lunch and when heating up your lunch. So I want to encourage you to definitely eliminate those. Now, the plastic is okay for cold foods, it's okay. But when it comes to heating up your foods, you definitely want to steer clear of using plastics because they do send off a chemical that leaks into the food. So please make that change. Number three, manage your stress levels. Unfortunately, we all have to deal with stress at some point or time in our lives. But some stress you can definitely manage. Things like work environments. It may be toxic relationships that you're in. It could be worry. We all have a certain level of stress, and we just cannot avoid stress in our lives. So it's important to make sure that you work on managing the stress. If you have a very toxic work environment, it may be time for you to make some changes to another job. If you're in a toxic relationship, marriage, friendship, whatever it might be, whatever is causing the excess stress in your life, then it's time to think about, leaving those relationships behind you, because if they're not allowing you to have peace in your life and it's causing you stress in your life, then it's time to make some changes. And when it comes to constantly worrying, let the worry go. We all are faced with financial issues no matter what. I have learned that bills are going to be here even when I'm gone. So I don't worry about that stuff anymore. I do what I can, and the rest I just don't worry about. Number 4, learn to forgive others. When you hold on to unforgiveness, it's like a cancer in the body. Release and let go of resentment. If you have any resentment against others, if you're constantly being frustrated at people all the time, those emotions are pulling down on your vibratory frequency that's lowering your ability, lowering your emotions and keeping you in a very, very low state of emotions. Therefore, you start to attract a lot of negative energy, a lot of negative circumstances, a lot of negative energies into your experience. So learn to forgive. Many times we don't realize this, but forgiveness are lessons that we need to learn for ourselves. We sometimes want to point the finger at other people, but we have to realize that it's very important for us to forgive. It's not for the other person, it's for us to learn. Now, that does not mean that you have to keep that person in your life. No, you can forgive, but you just move on with your life and move on and find better relationships. Sometimes it's hard to do, but it's definitely necessary, because when you constantly carry that unforgiveness in your heart, again, it's just like cancer setting up in your body. Number 5, live a healthier lifestyle. Work on changing your eating habits. Learn to eat more whole foods and let go a lot of the junk food, especially the boxed foods, the fast foods, the processed foods. Those foods are full of chemicals and they do not serve the body well at all. So work on changing your diet, having a better lifestyle. If you don't exercise, I want to encourage you to start move the body so that your lymphatic system won't become stagnant. It's very important that we have some form of movement in our lives every single day. Get up in the morning and do some type of stretching exercise, or take a walk in nature. That activity and changing our diet is crucial to our ability to maintain a healthy body. Also, when you carry a lot of excess weight and you are overweight, it puts you more at risk to many other diseases that that can creep up on you very easy. And a lot of times we don't even realize that a lot of times it's due to our diet, it's due to our lack of activity, our lack of physical exercise. These things are important to us to make sure that we maintain good physical health. Number 6, check your products. There are many toxins in products that, especially when it comes to hair dye. I remember before I was diagnosed, I would dye my hair every 6 weeks to avoid gray hair. I have learned to just embrace the gray hair because I realize that's just a process of life that we have to go through. And the more you resist it, the faster it continues to come back. So when it comes to your makeup, your skincare products, all of those things, make sure you read and understand what you are putting on your body. We don't look at hair dye as something that would actually affect us, but you think about it, all of the color, all of the perms and everything that we put in our hair, all of the things we put on our skin. The skin is the largest organ on the body, and everything that we put on the body, it becomes it affects our endocrine system. And the more your endocrine system is affected, that puts you more at risk to disease. So make sure you check your products. I'm not saying don't dye your hair at all. Just, minimize the amount of times that you do it. I personally had to stop because I don't like that transition part. And so I had to basically stop. So I no longer dye my hair. I'm just learning to just embrace it as it is. Okay. Number 7, don't be a doormat to people. Learn to speak up. Speak your voice. You have a voice. You matter. So learn to speak up, and don't be afraid to share with people what's on your mind and what's on your heart. I remember when I first got married, I had a very, very nasty way of talking to people. And my husband, I learned one of the biggest life lessons from my husband. He told me, he said, honey, I could receive from you much better if you said it in a better way. It's not what you say, but it's how you say it. So be open enough to put thought into sharing how you feel. It's not always easy to open up to other people, but you need to get whatever is on your chest, get it off of your chest. Find a friend that you can talk to. Make sure that you are open enough to share. Release shame, release fear, release guilt. All of those are negative emotions that pull on our vibratory frequency that causes us to attract more negativity into our lives. So don't be a doormat. Don't be a doormat. Live your life. Speak your truth, whatever that may be. Some people may not like it, and that's okay. But just live your life for you and stop living for other people. Number 8, listen to your intuitive guidance. Your intuitive guidance is that still small voice that speaks to you in a very quiet and still way. You'll hear it like you may be traveling down the road and it'll say, don't go that way, take a detour. And if you listen, you'll find that just because you listened and you took a detour, you might have avoided an accident, or you might have avoided being caught up in a lot of traffic or whatever. Learn to follow and listen to that intuitive guidance. Your intuitive guidance knows much better than you. It knows what's ahead of you. And the more you avoid and the more you ignore your intuitive guidance, the more pain and more hurt and more harm you will cause to yourself. Okay? So I just wanted to share all of those tips with you. These are things that I have made drastic changes in my own personal life, and I have incorporated into my own personal life. And understand that all of us have cancer cells in our bodies, but there are things that we can do to make sure that we are not faced with the diagnosis. And with all of these tips that I've shared with you, I hope that you will take them into consideration and give it some thought and make the necessary changes in your life. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. And if you found value in this video, please be sure to like it and follow and share the information, because someone needs to hear this information. Okay? So until the next time, thank you again so much for watching. Till the next time, take care, take charge. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.